So when you convert the 5 cycles into contemporary application, and that's the development of the cosmic self, you have that progression from restriction to awakening. The awakening leads to expression, to expansion, to creating. So let's start with restriction. So this is the first stage. That's the development of the acquired self. That's the development of the personal body, and that is the 3D development. And it's formulated and governed by a collective consciousness which acts independently and separate from the Tao. This is very important, that the acquired self is governed and developed by a collective consciousness which is not connected to the Tao. So that's the whole essence of the Tao Te Ching, that people are not acting and following the Tao and creating their own understanding and then put everyone under that umbrella. So they already observed 2,500 years ago or 3,000 years ago, exact same thing what happens right now. So in the restriction, it is family, society, peer beliefs that induce pressure on the child, on the teenager, and the young adult. And that creates a very specific restriction. However, it's a pressure. From now on, I'm going to deliberately use the word dimensional structures, geometry, in order to lay the foundation for the practices and application that we talk all throughout the next webinars. Because this first stage development, this restriction, is a very specific dimensional structure. And that acts on us. And that leads to this 3D awareness where we believe in separation, scarcity, and competition. That generates the fear, distrust, and hostility. Exactly that what we move away from in the cosmization process. So now we are entangled in feelings and we're not engaging with the outer in the sense where we embrace. So the restriction lead to very specific behaviors and action. So I deliberately use the word you here in order to make it clearer, global you. So in the 3D behavior and actions, we act on peer belief. We act on what is right rather than listening within, which is the heart voice. So I go deeper into the heart voice in webinar 2 and webinar 3. We strive to meet the expectations of others. As a therapist, I observe that one of the biggest problems, it stops people of realizing their true potential because they're trying to meet the expectations of others. And they follow the orders of others. Taoists never follow the orders of others. But we submit to the value of others. We don't seem to have free will, which is not true. So from a Taoist perspective, you would say you are under a spell. So you're not yourself, you are a construct of others. All right, so this may sound judgmental, but it's actually in line with how Taoists would say that. You're not authentic, you are a sheep. We see that in the development of those who don't bring in their true self. So obviously, we don't react to it because that means it's not a cosmization process. It's purely Tao knowledge, looking at the workings of the structure of the universe and what restriction can do. Once we understand what it can do, we can act on it. Before we get into what to do about it, we need to look at that spell. So this spell is in fact frequency. In the Taoist, it is outlined that there's always a group that tries to control others because the physical world is restricted into a very specific form. It always motivates some people to take charge and wanting to control others. However, Lao Tzu says in the Tao Te Ching, those who follow the path of yin and yang become invisible of those who are trying to control yin and yang. However, it's done by a frequency, by control. And I want to show some examples with you so you can see what I'm talking about.